Welcome to this restorative practice with a focus on the solar plexus here below the ribs above the belly button. We'll begin with Surya Mudra, the ring finger tucked behind the thumb. So invite your spine to get tall, your shoulders to drop away from your ears, and your focus to be on your breath. Belly soft. Surya Mudra is for solar fire, metabolism, digestion, to increase the body temperature, which wards off colds, and it decreases heaviness in the body. So 3 smooth, long breaths here. Inhale, belly expanding the ribs and the chest. Feeling the torso from the bottom up. And exhaling from the top down, releasing the air down and out. Each inhale, imagine reaching your energy higher skyward. Each exhale, sinking the energy down, deeper, earthbound. Inhale higher, inviting in spaciousness into the body-mind. And exhale, rooting deeper. Imagine roots through your base, moving down to the core of the earth, the soil separating to make space for those roots. Perhaps you want to set an intention for what you'd like to take from your practice. Restorative yoga is effortless effort. We give ourselves permission to do less in this practice. Turn your attention inward. And before we set up for our first restorative move, we'll do a little prep work with Kapalabhati Breathing to fire up the solar plexus, to get the fire, the metabolism going. And so it's an inhale where the belly's expanding. When we exhale, it's like a sharp burst through the nostrils as the belly goes in. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Recrossing opposite heel in closer. Option to do another 25 with a movement. Inhale, belly out, exhale. Ten. 3, 2, 1. Moving the energy up the spine. And then dropping the chin, relaxing the shoulders. Engaging the band of muscles above the back rib. For neck rolls, left ear towards the left shoulder. Jaw soft. Tongue resting in the lower palate. Chin through center. Right ear to the right shoulder. Rolling back if your neck is healthy, full range of motion. Gaze can be soft or eyes closed. And finally, we'll circle the torso. As you shift forward, lengthening the front of the torso. As you lean back, hollow your abdominals. Shifting direction. Extending out of the waist. The solar plexus that we're focusing on today in this practice is our willpower and our self-confidence, how we manifest our work and our purpose in life, in the world. And so feel yourself strong and confident as you move through the practice, and notice what comes up, knowing that you're in control here. So we're going to move to our first posture. This is going to be a lying down pose. It's called half moon. And again, if you've never done restorative, we're using props. I have a chair to the side, blanket, bolster, and blocks, eye pillow, and a strap. If you want to learn more or try the restorative series with me, send me a note and I'll send you the prop list with modifications, phone books instead of blocks, so forth. Lying down on our back. This one comes from Yin Yoga. So we'll take the legs to the left of the mat and inhale the arms overhead and then arch to the left. You could steeple the fingers. We're going to inhale, go for length through the spine. You could cross the right over the left ankle. And as you're simply lying here, breathe through your right side. In each pose, ask, what is my spine doing here? We hope it's in extension, it's long as possible, no matter the pose. Your left hand could hold your right wrist, if that's good. If you want to soften your gaze or close your eyes, let's breathe, either scenario, through the right side. The intercostal muscles here on the right, extending through the armpit and chest wall, this right arm. We're going to start with a breath ratio known for calm. So let's try a few. I'll walk you through the count. We're going to inhale for the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top of the breath for 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Inhale 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then inhale, release the arms and legs. Stretch out along the mat. And then walk the feet over to the right and then arch over the torso, the arms to the right. Option to cross the left over the right ankle, and the right hand can hold the left wrist. This one, if you've ever heard of Yin Yoga, is a popular one in Yin. You can hold the left wrist here and extend now through your left side. So inhale, go for length through your side. And as you exhale, draw the belly in, squeezing the breath out by drawing the lower abdominals in at the bottom of the breath. Imagine with the exhale that you're releasing tension that doesn't serve you anymore. Like a big sigh of relief. Let's try the 4-7-8 ratio. This comes from Dr. Andrew Weidel, and it's known as the sedative breath. And it equates to about 6 breaths per minute. Very calming. And let's just notice what your authentic experience is. I'll walk you through 3, and then I'll be quiet to see if you want to do more. Inhale for 4, count 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top of the breath, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Coming back, moving the legs forward and bring the arms out. Neutralize the spine for a moment, the knees bent and the palms at the side. This is constructive rest, so we'll just take a moment here. Awesome. So our feet are parallel and our knees are hip width apart. And we're just going to move through bridge to set up before the next one. Okay, here we go. Tuck your pelvis. Roll your shoulders, exhale, lift. This one comes from yoga therapy. Arms reach overhead if you can, if you want. You're in charge, so choose what works. Exhale, we're lowering one vertebra at a time down to the ground so the hands and hips touch down together, bottom of the breath. 6 times, that's 1. Inhale as you rise, hug your thighs, press the weight to the inner edge of your feet. And exhale, lowering down. Going with the flow of the breath. The 4th time, if you want, you can try Ballet Bridge. Inhale, you lift the heels, hands, hips, rising up. Exhale, lowering. Hands, hips, heels, bottom of the breath. Last one. Breath in neutral, hugging the knees, rolling to the side or coming up. And from here, we're going to shift forward onto our belly. Good, because this is also constructive rest, hands and knees. But we're going to come down to our belly and we'll take 2 blocks. Equal size, we'll put them at the top of our mat. So we're on our belly, and we're going to separate them enough so that we could put the elbows on the blocks. Then we're going to relax the forehead down between the blocks, and the hands, like a little prayer, come back between your shoulder blades. You can tuck your toes under and spin your thighs in. And then as you just lie here, you might press your toenails a little bit so you can feel your knees fire up and let yourself relax into this pose. There's extra flexion in the shoulders. So I'm going to have you stay in the pose. I'll invite you to do that. And I'm going to come up so my voice is projecting properly. And now imagine, if you're a visual person, your breath is like waves crashing on the beach. And you might just picture waves crashing on the beach. They ebb and flow. Imagine your breath are waves. So inhale, imagine the breath rolling in from the feet to the crown of the head, filling you with vibrancy. And as you exhale, from the crown of the head, the wave recedes back down out through the feet, taking any detritus you don't need with it, down and out. As you exhale, So tune into the body. Notice the mind. See how you feel. And see if you can allow the waves of the breath to move through you with the energy of water. So this beautiful cleansing flow of breath moving up the whole body on the in-breath and back down on the out breath. We're going to be here for one more minute, and the option is to try ocean breath, known as victorious breath, or Ujjayi breathing. To try the breath, if you're new to it, you inhale through the nostrils, and you exhale through the mouth, creating a ha sound. And then you try it with your lips closed. So we're closing the epiglottis halfway, the back of the throat, and the result is the sound of like a seashell when you hold it to your ear. The inhale and exhale are even. Let the waves of the Ujjayi breath move in and out. On the inhale, if thoughts come up or sensation, let them flow in. Without attachment, as you exhale, let them recede back out. We'll do 3 more breaths in this pose. Bottom of the 3rd cycle of breath, we will retrace our steps, coming back out, pressing the hands down, removing the blocks, and shifting. So this next one is frog, and we'll take our blanket lengthwise. So from a full open blanket to half to baguette roll. So we're going to put that under our knees for frog. Frog is external rotation in the knees. So the knees can come up on the blanket to support them, and we see how they go out. We can flex the feet. And then the bolster is going to go under the belly, a little forward if you prefer. Nice. And then the head can rest. So notice how you feel here. We're going to have the head maybe to the right side. If it's better, stack the forearms. Feel free to do that. And as you lie in the frog pose, you can always bring your knees in closer, more like a child's pose. So I'm going to play the singing bowl. You're doing a hip opener, and this is the keynote of D. Opening in the hips and the sacral chakra. So we're just moving from the base of the spine up in this practice. And whether you're familiar or buying into energy centers, chakras in the body or not, just feel how you feel and let yourself go here. In your frog pose. So become aware of the breath moving in and out of the nostrils. Note the cool rush of air on the inhale at the upper part of your nostrils. And then the warm release of air at the low part of your nostrils when you exhale. In and out with the breath. Here and now with your awareness. If you have your head to one side, option to turn it to the other side. Noticing how the opposite side of the neck presents. And continuing with the awareness of the temperature of the nostrils. 3 more breaths in this pose. Bottom of the third cycle of breath, we're going to retrace our steps to come up and shift to lie on our back. If you want to bring a little blanket, this would be between your knees to support you. I've now folded it in about an 8. Now again. So we'll let ourselves lie down, a little cushion on the left side, letting ourselves rest here. I'm really in the sun. I don't know if you can see me, so I'm gonna move down. So we can let the blanket be between our knees. And we might start with this left hand overhead. The hips are stacked. And then what we'll do is we can move this aside. Let's open the arms and we'll press the elbows and roll the shoulders under. And this is a reclining twist. So the knees are to the left, the right shoulder's down. And if you want, you can turn your head over to the right side. Inhale, length along the spine. Exhale, the belly in. If you want to return to Surya Mudra, that would be the ring finger of the thumb and focusing on the breath. So we're exhaling the belly in. Maybe do the Ujjayi breath again. And the focus on stoking the digestive fire in this beautiful twist. So inhale, go for length in the spine, reaching out past your extremities. And on the exhale, drawing in through the core. You might feel the right outer hip. If you feel like making a fist and doing a little massage around the outer hip, loosening up there through the piriformis, give yourself a little massage. So on the inhale, we're extending out and exhale, drawing in. We'll do one more breath here. And then from here, we can lift the knees up and walk the hips to the left and then roll over to your right side. We want to press the elbows under and have this left shoulder rooted down. The hips are stacking to the right. Option to turn the head to the left if you like. So inhale, length, and exhale the belly in. Pausing, option to close your eyes if you'd like. Turn off this music here. Hey Google, stop. Coming back to our ocean breath. We'll do 3 more cycles of breath in this pose before coming back. You could let your left arm roll over to the over on top of the right or overhead for a moment like we did on the other side. Pausing, planting the top hand, coming up, and maybe you're turning around like I did. Okay. This next one is down angle pose, recline, and I'm taking 2 blocks and stacking them, one on the end towards the front higher, the other a little lower, creating a ramp here. And then we're going to sit in front of the ramp versus on it. And if you would like here, if you have any more blanket or blocks, you could put them under your knees. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and slide the seat up to the back so that the lip is catching the low back. And then lying back, Soles of the feet are get together. And the blanket can be over the torso. If you have an eye pillow, you can place that on your forehead or over your eyes, rolling the shoulders under, scooping the tailbone under, and then letting the arms and legs kind of fall open to the sides. Holding bound angle pose. This version is a little heart opener. The diaphragm is lifted so the exhale might be a little easier. Option to bring the fingers back to Surya Mudra if you'd like. And we can close our eyes. Maybe even a strap over the eyes. And just let yourself stay in this pose. Taking your awareness to the heart at the center of the chest, this point. Inhale, imagine light expanding as bright as the sun into the space surrounding you. As you breathe in, filling up with light, expanding out. And when you exhale, feel the light soften and turn back in. Inhale, bright as the sun. Exhale, softening back into center. Let your tongue come to touch the back top of the teeth, another calm point. And the eyes behind the closed lids to roll up to gaze at the third eye, which is the eyebrow center. If you have an eye pillow or a strap, the light pressure brings you there as well. We're going to try breath. Oh, we're just going to stay here. I'll stop talking. Three more cycles of breath, inhale and exhale, in this pose. Bottom of the third cycle of breath, we'll move the fingers. We can plant the hands behind the knee joints and lift them, removing the blanket that is. We'll filter the feet out wide and let the knees fall in to center for internal rotation. If you want to take it a step further, right knee can drop towards the left ankle. So now your right quad is rotating in a counter stretch. You could look to your left if you like, then through center, knees up, and now the left knee towards the right ankle, head could turn to the left. Left quad rolling in, outer hip might stretch here. Inhale through center, rolling to your comfortable side. And without moving this setup, we're going to shift to locust pose. So we're going to turn around and maybe like me, you have to move your setup back a little bit. And we're gonna lie on our belly and let our legs come up the ramp. Blanket, you could put it on your back. We're gonna spin down and bring our knees up to the edge. And then come down here and let your forehead rest on your forearms. Make sure you kind of tuck your thighs under, so your legs, you're having internal rotation, and let your forehead rest on your forearms. With the focus at the eyebrow center here, we can just take our awareness there, and maybe you want to try eyes closed, but they roll up to gaze at the eyebrow center. The vagus nerve runs through the center of the body, and this calm point is a place where you can take your inner focus. If you want to try that, feel free. Take the best, leave the rest if it doesn't work for you. Imagine breathing in and out at the third eye. If you could just let your imagination do that, just see what happens. Option to add on the mantra Soham. Soham means I am that. So try it. Inhale, so. Say to yourself, and when you exhale, hum. That means I am the witness, the part of you that's able to watch. All of life happens in the foreground, but in the background is the witness. The same part of us that recalls our dreams. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Mantra is a sound vibration used like a rowboat to navigate the choppy waters of the mind. The mantra will cancel the thinking. The thinking cancels the mantra. Then we're left with a silence. Taking one more minute. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. We'll do 3 more cycles of breath in this locust pose. Bottom of the 3rd cycle of breath, we'll take the feet off the bolster, the blanket off, and we can press down to our hands and knees. And here we'll do a cat-cow to inhale the heart forward, belly drops, exhale round like a Halloween cat. Space between the vertebrae. 3 times, inhale, plant the hands, heart forward, exhale round back, 2. And 3. Shifting ourselves forward here. We're going to take our bolster in front of us. So this is called Sphinx Pose, and we'll add a shoulder opener. Okay, so the bolster is going to go lengthwise, or wide is the mat. And we're going to come down. Let me show from the side if you're not familiar with this pose. Bring off the mat. So from the hands and knees, we come down to our belly. And then the bolster is underneath our ribs. And the elbows come to the ground. Let's switch so sunny, I don't think you can see. Okay, so from this forward, we bring the elbows underneath. And just like the Sphinx statue, we have the hands, the fingers spread and the elbows in. So see if you can turn your toes under and spin your thighs in, press your toenails down. If you'd like, you can take a block here for the next one. If it feels better to rest your forehead on the block, to let your chin tuck in, feel free to do that. I invite you to press your toenails down a little more and draw your belly in so that you can feel less intensity in the low back. As you press the toenails, you might notice your knees engaging more and lifting, keeping the low back safe. Breathe. We're going to do 3 more breaths. 2 and 1. Here's the shoulder opener. So we're going to cross the arms, right, the right on top, and walk the hands out. We can see if we can straighten them. And the more we press the fingers and shift a little forward, and then we could put the block under the forehead. So if you want to try that, you reach out and you can feel, hopefully, the space between the shoulder blades. So you might, to do that, press the pads of your fingers down more and rest your forehead. Maybe take your attention to your toenails again and press them into the ground, legs engaged. Notice how your shoulders feel, getting into the space between the shoulder blades, breathing as if you could extend in 360 degrees around the torso outward as you inhale, and exhale as you draw the belly in, bottom of the breath, to squeeze any stale air from the low lungs. 3 more breaths with the right arm in front. Retracing your steps by sliding your elbows out to the side of the mat and crossing the left over the right. Oh, now. So you can walk your hands out. If you need to move forward, do that. We can tuck the tailbone in, spin the thighs in, and then pads of the fingers can press a little more down, taking just the right amount of stretch here. If you walk your bottom right arm out to the side more, you'll get more stretch if you're looking for that. I'm keeping the feet hip width apart. This is a back bend. So there's compression in the spine and opening in the shoulders. Let's do 3 more cycles of breath here. Inhale, filling up. Feel the whole body filling up with vibrancy. And as you exhale, emptying back out anything you don't need anymore. Bottom of the 3rd cycle of breath, we'll plant our hands down, coming back to the hands and knees, little cat-cow in between, and then we'll shift back to child's pose. So the knees can go a little wider, big toes are touching, and we can extend the arms forward. Option for a little rest on your forehead, and then arms along your sides, palms up for internal rotation of the shoulders. So now we're letting the shoulders just droop down. If you don't need the block, just let your forehead rest on the ground. And if you rock a little side to side, see if you can nestle into child's pose. Option to put the blanket over your back like a hug. If your knees are tight, the blanket can go behind the back of the knees. And we're drooping the shoulders down, letting the elbows get heavy and the palms face up. Let yourself lengthen on the in-breath. So you can do centering line here if you'd like. It's inhale, your awareness from the base of the spine up the front torso to the eyebrow center where we're resting. And exhale, we move it back down. The awareness with the exhale from the eyebrow center down the front torso to the perineum or the pelvic floor, base of the spine. Inhale, centering line draws back up with our awareness, and exhale moves back down. So throughout the day, centering line you can do anytime you need to get centered. So see if you can take this awareness of the breath as a visual, or you might feel it moving. Inhale up, exhale down. We'll do 3 more breath cycles. Pressing the hands down to come up. 2 options. We can use a bolster if you'd like, or if you have a wall and you want to bring your legs up the wall. I'll show the bolster first, shifting the hips to the side, and we'll bring the feet down on either side here. And then sliding the block under, or the bolster. This is bridge, and you can stay here. Option 2 is to raise the legs up. Supported bridge. We keep the back of the neck off the ground, the chin could be in, and there's like a beautiful flow, like water down the legs. This is called Waterfall Pose, done at the wall. We're kind of doing it like shoulder stand too. So either way, I'll show at the wall, if you have one that you have access to. It looks like this. So I'm going to scoot over to the wall here. Lying on the side in a fetal position to get the seat up to the wall. And then we'll extend the legs up the wall. This is Waterfall Pose. Option 2, maybe visualize beautiful flow of water down the legs, into the lake bed of the torso, out to the crown. This is a great thing for any recovery of the legs, for varicosities in your legs are tired, and a fresh blood supply is coming into the brain. The heart doesn't need to work to get the blood pumped up. And so if you could see your blood, it would be like a half-empty jug of milk. Say when you flip it upside down. So everything on the bottom moves up to the top. So fresh blood supply. It's covering up the eyes or the body in either version of this pose. You might feel tingling in your feet, but imagine a beautiful waterfall of vibrancy flowing down your legs, ankles, to the shins, over the knees, to the hips, through your torso and internal organs, being bathed and just clean with this beautiful flow, this energy of water moving through to the shoulders, down the arms, to the tips of the fingers, through the crown of the head. Effortless effort with the breath here. Just notice. Does your belly move away from your spine on the in-breath? Does it move back down towards the spine on the out-breath? Let this be a breath inquiry where you just notice the natural flow of your breath. Palms can be up, shoulders rolled under. 3 more breaths in this pose. And now we're going to try squatting pose on the wall. Now, if you had a bed nearby, if you're at home, you could do that. You could press your feet into the bed. We're going to roll the shoulders under and let the feet and the knees turn out. And then the arms could rest, or if you wanted, you could bring them like a prayer pose, or like palms out. You could hold to the knees. So let yourself pause here in the squatting pose. Feel the support of the ground beneath you. On the wall, gives your knees a break compared to how we're doing on the ground this would be. And if you prefer, you could reach your arms out. If we can, we'll let the feet and the knees be in the same direction, opening out. Doing 3 more breath cycles in the squat pose. You can also do this sitting on a bolster upright if you didn't have the wall accessible to you. Bottom of the third cycle breath, we'll bring the feet together, knees to the side, retracing our steps back to center. So we'll set up for our final pose in one of 2 ways. I have a chair here, and I'm going to show both with the bolster and the chair. So the bolster can be under your knees in Savasana, which is corpse pose. So what you can do is shift to bring the bolster under your knees. If you want to go up higher, you can make it high like that. You could put a block under it, more rampish. And we're going to tuck, see how I'm tucking the tailbone under. And then we can put the blanket over us. If you have a pillow, you want to put behind your head, or an eye pillow over your eyes, a strap. This is supported Savasana, option 1. If you have an open back chair, this is option 2. The chair will be at the end of the mat. Mine has an open space, which is really helpful if you do legs over a chair. Both give a little, the raise of the legs over the bolster of the chair releases the low back. From a fetal position, we lie the legs over. Feet can go behind. Notice how the knees make a right angle with the back. We can place the blanket over us. So either version, we're going to roll our shoulders under, take a nice big breath, and with the exhale, let everything go. We're going to try a little breath, a pranayama 3 times. So we're going to inhale. Imagine the crown of your head could open and a divine white light can flow in and fill the whole body down to a cellular level, holding the breath for 3, 2, 1. And then exhale through the mouth like a gray mist of detritus. All you don't need. Option for 2 more. Inhale, like the crown could open, light flowing in, filling up, happy laughing sounds. Holding, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the mouth. Let everything go. Last time, inhale, crown opens, filling vibrancy, white light. Holding, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the mouth. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And just let yourself begin to relax the crown now. So that your scalp could soften and your brow. Imagine your brain is an overfilled balloon and you're mentally releasing the air. Ears soft, tip of the nose, root of the tongue, base of the throat, collarbones and shoulders heavier and just sinking front body into the back body into the ground. This softening sensation, this expansive healing energy, like unconditional love, flowing down the arms, through the fingertips, and then over the torso and down through the internal organs, through the hips and groins, through the thighs and knees and calves, all the way out to the tips of your toes. Allow this beautiful softening. Just let it go. Option for a meditation on waves. So visualize, if you'd like to join, your breath flowing like a wave from the feet to the crown, filling you up. And as it exhale, it rolls down from the crown, back down through the feet. Just witnessing the ebb and flow of the waves, like those on an ocean or crashing on the beach. And just watching the ebb and flow of sensation and thought. From this vantage point of infinity as the observer, you can detach and observe. We'll do 3 more cycles of breath in this pose. To come back, I invite you to observe the sounds around you in a large clockwise circle. Take your awareness outside your space and around, and notice sounds. Could be a car going by, birds, the din of the air handling system, and then the breath, your own breath, and notice these in proximity to yourself. And then we're going to come back more fully into the body while wiggling our toes, moving our fingers, feeling the energy come back into the body. This is a practice that you could turn off the video and take a nap here. If you're coming back with me, you can hug your knees in a gesture of self-care, rolling to your comfortable side and coming upright to a cross-legged and comfortable pose. Starting Mudra one more time if you'd like. And then putting it all together here. If you would like here, you could close your eyes or keep a soft gaze. Inhale from the base of the spine, so the mantra to the third eye, and exhale back down, hum. So, hum. I am that. letting go of that. Let your eyes come open, and we can close with namaste, which means the light within me acknowledges and salutes that same light within you. Namaste. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the restorative practice.